curious, analytical. Look at this chart tracing Reform UK's polling surge up to 14%. Breaking down the demographics driving that climb, a clear pattern emerges. The party is powered by older, working-class voters, frustrated with stagnant wages and a strained National Health Service. For years, the undeniable face of this populist anger has been Nigel Farage. Nigel Farage provides the public front, but the functional engine of the party is Richard Tice. Tice presents a stark contrast to Reform's working-class base. He was educated at the exclusive Uppingham boarding school, built a career as the CEO of multinational real estate firms, and personally bankrolled the party with £1.4 million of his own money. His leadership of this anti-establishment revolt mirrors a corporate hostile takeover, driven by the logic of the boardroom rather than traditional grassroots activism. You can see this clearly in how Tice approaches the highly charged issue of immigration. He treats border control as a business mechanic. His signature policy proposal is something he calls the employer immigration tax. This data visualization compares standard payroll taxes to Tice's proposed penalty. Right now, UK businesses pay a 13.8% national insurance rate on their employee salaries. Tice wants that rate to jump to 20% for any foreign workers, creating a steep financial penalty to cure what he calls Britain's addiction to cheap overseas labor. Typical populist politicians focus heavily on national identity or cultural borders. Tice focuses on overhead costs and profit margins. The employer immigration tax is a distillation of his worldview. He takes a complex social grievance and reduces it to a simple balance sheet calculation. He applies this exact same cost-benefit analysis to the threat of climate change. Tice argues that aggressive net zero targets are an unnecessary burden on the economy, and that a warming planet does not have to be entirely doom and gloom. In fact, he sees it as a business opportunity. Tice publicly suggested rising temperatures will allow English wine producers to rival the French, treating agricultural shifts as a chance to capture market share. But while he focuses on the profit potential of sparkling wine, the country is dealing with the reality of extreme heat waves and severe environmental damage. Climate groups and political opponents immediately condemned the comments, labeling his focus on vineyard profits as tone-deaf to human suffering. While boardroom pragmatism is a standard tool in real estate, climate groups argue that treating an environmental crisis as a localized profit opportunity ignores the human toll of extreme weather. That controversy highlights a friction between Tice's financially struggling voter base and his own wealth-protecting maneuvers. During the 2024 election cycle, an analysis revealed that QuidNet REIT, the property investment company Tice founded, allegedly failed to pay £120,000 in taxes. QuidNet used a real estate investment trust to channel dividends offshore to Jersey, bypassing a mandatory 20% withholding tax. Tice defended this as a tax technicality, insisting that because he eventually paid personal income tax, the Revenue Service ultimately received the correct amount. Simultaneously, the Parliamentary Standards Watchdog launched an investigation into his failure to declare specific interests during a debate, adding further establishment baggage to his record. These overlapping scandals create a tension for the movement. Their anti-establishment champion utilizes the very corporate loopholes and legal technicalities that many of his voters feel have been used against them. Because of this contradiction, Tice has faced heavy skepticism even from within his own ideological ranks. Former Conservative MP Lee Anderson famously insulted him, calling Tice a pound shop Nigel Farage. Yet, in a twist of political irony, Anderson eventually defected to join Tice's party. The checkbook and the strategy proved effective. Look at Tice's macro achievements. He bankrolled and managed the party's infrastructure during its wilderness years, maintaining a viable organization for Farage's return to the spotlight. He also secured his own personal electoral vindication, winning the parliamentary seat for Boston and Skegness in the general election. Modern populist movements can no longer survive on charismatic pub politics alone. They require ruthless, deep-pocketed architects like Richard Tice, who look at anti-establishment rage and see a highly lucrative political asset class.